Bit of twisting, bit of breathing. Getting a bit of calmness going. Breathing out any of the existing tensions or worries. Breathing in some calmness and relaxation. Breathing out any bits of stiffness. Breathing in some positive energy. So, option, carry on doing what you're doing with the hands. Or option, loosen the arms, and then the hands, tapping the lower back, finding the energy points in the lower back. And as we tap, the idea is we just stimulate a little energy release from those energy points or chi points, acupuncture points, whatever you want to call them. So just keeping that going. I realise my ball is there dominating the screen. Let's move that. Oh yeah, that's better. And then we can go for the ones in the shoulders as well if we want to. So one hand to the opposite shoulder, the other arm still going to the opposite side of the lower back. So a relatively chilled session on a hot day. And then releasing, giving everything a big shake, getting everything flowing. And then stepping the feet comfortably wide, softening into the knees, staying higher if you want less intensity, or going lower if you're up for more intensity. And then adding in some arms, reaching up, floating down, maybe bending and stretching into the legs. Maybe you want to stay more upright, more just about the upper body, whatever works for your body. Maybe synchronizing the breath, breathing in as you rise, breathing out as you lower. And then adding on a little paddle one side and a little paddle the other. So floating up, paddling one side as if you're paddling a canoe, then the other, floating down and up. Paddling, paddling. So legs can stay pretty upright as you're paddling, or maybe bending into one knee, bending into the other. Last ones. And releasing. Coming back to center. Maybe some pedaling. Runner's arms if you want to. Finding any bits of stiffness. Giving them a bit of a loosen. And then settling the weight into the feet, feet at hip width, maybe a little stretch up onto the toes, lowering to the heels. If you don't want to do both at the same time, doing a bit of pedaling. And then maybe doing a bit of shrugging and releasing, breathing in, breathing out. Maybe having a float up at the same time. Just releasing stress. Getting the body full of oxygen. One more. And then coming into some skiing. Making some cactus arms. Arms can be closer for less intensity, or they can go wider. Having a little squeeze back, softening into the knees and skiing down. Range of movement, as much or as little. Whatever's right for your body. Maybe as you squeeze back with the elbows, going to a gentle back bend. If you're doing that, squeeze in the bum to protect the lower back, or the elbows can go back, back stays the same. And then taking the elbows over to the side, having a little lean. Feet staying as they are, or maybe opposite toe pops out to the side, toes connecting with the mat, or if you want more, having a float. Last one, and releasing, bit of pedaling, bit of wriggling, still breathing, and then stepping forward with your left foot, softening into the knee, staying higher for less intensity, going lower into the hips for more intensity. And doing a bit of breaststroking on a hot day, maybe visualizing some gorgeous water. It's at exactly the right temperature. Maybe it's sparkling, maybe it smells gorgeous, a little bit of lavender maybe, or whatever your favorite aromatherapy oil is. So weight can go forwards and backwards if you want to, onto the front foot, towards the back foot, doing a bit of leg strengthening, a bit of challenge for the balance. Maybe even floating up the back foot, doing a bit of flying and swimming. Oh yeah. And then switching over, sending the right foot forward, softening into the knee, all the same again. As much or as little travelling backwards and forwards. If you want to stay in the middle, if you want the arms to be smaller, all options are good. Perhaps you fancy a little bit of flying, perhaps you don't. Oh yeah, looking amazing. And releasing. Taking the feet out a bit wider, softening into the knees, hips higher, hips lower. Setting your own level of intensity. Maybe the weight goes side to side. Maybe you want to stay more in the center, making it more about the upper body. And then having a swish. If you're back in the water, And swishing it about. So listening to the body, noting areas of tension, noting what you need to do. Give your body precise stretch it needs. Plenty of breathing. And then, as though you're grasping an imaginary ball, maybe it's a beach ball, maybe it's a chi ball, energy ball, however you want to visualize it. And then taking it in a circle, reaching to the side, or the same the other way. So, movements can be smaller, movements can be larger. Maybe they go around the back of the head, maybe they stay in front, whatever your body needs. And then making some arches arms, taking the arms over to the side, grasping some imaginary strings on a bow, drawing them across the chest. And replacing, taking the arms over, drawing back your strings, and replacing. Breathing into the movement. Option, stay as you are. Option, arms go over to diagonal, drawing back your strings and replacing. Opposite diagonal. So carrying on with the strings, or maybe pushing away with the palms, drawing back your front palm and replacing. Last one, and then releasing the arms, making some scoops, one arm at a time. Maybe the other arm has a little squeeze out and back. Doing as much or as little. And then coming up to paint your rainbow. Smaller movements or larger. One arm at a time. For both. And releasing. Coming back to center, having a little shake, having a sip of water whenever you want to, particularly as it's so warm today. Everyone all right so far? Fabulous. And then bring in the feet to hip width, maybe a little squeeze onto the toes, maybe a bit of shoulder shrugging. Oh yeah. And then having a reach up, palms together, hands lower or hands higher. Having a little bend into the knees, lowering down to your imaginary chair. Maybe the hands come down towards the head, deity arms. And then they reach up and hinge forward, sending the fingers out and round. Having a reach. Maybe a lowering wherever you want that invisible chair to be. Plenty of breathing. And then coming into a forward fold. Making it what your body needs. Maybe you need to stay higher. Maybe the hands need to be on the legs, knees bent. Or maybe you fancy going a bit lower. Doing what your body's telling you to do. Any twinges, easing off. Hands can stay on the legs. Or maybe releasing the hands, letting them hang down, ragdoll. You might want to lace the fingers. Or if you want more intensity, maybe grasping the elbows. Taking a little bit of movement to add into the stretch, if that feels right for you. And then bringing the hands onto the knees or higher, making a flat back, flat neck, having a little roll into the shoulders, and then taking left shoulder over towards the right side, and then right shoulder over towards the left. And then staying higher, or maybe going a bit lower again, adding on a twist if you want to. Taking the right hand to the outside of the left leg, and then the left arm reaching. Maybe left arm goes round the back, half bind. And then switching over, sending up the right arm. Maybe the right arm tucks around the back, a half bind. And then coming back to center, hands onto knees, tucking in the chin, curling up nice and gently, head coming up last. Oh yeah, having a shake. It is so much nicer doing this recording with a real class. Yay. Before it was just me, pretending there were people there in lockdown. How lovely. Today is a very good day. They're doing a bit of hip circling. Taking a few breaths. Having a shake, and then opening out, one knee at a time, rolling out the hip. Getting everything nice and warm and loose. Adding arms if you want to, or holding on to something. And then giving the legs a shake, doing a bit of elbow swimming. So knees are soft, hips are soft. Doing a bit of swimming with the elbows. Maybe getting the rest of the body involved. Plenty of breathing. Maybe staying with the elbows. Maybe going into a front crawl. And then taking the elbows back. Maybe going into a bit of a backstroke. And releasing. Bringing the hands together, giving them a rub. Front and back. Having a little press into the fingers and the thumbs. Bit of a wriggle into the fingers. Bit of rotation at the wrists. Same the other way. And then gentle back bend for the fingers, stroking them back as much or as little. And then drawing the hand towards the wrist. Having a shake. Same the other way. Stroking the fingers back. And then cupping the hand. And then sending out the arms, having a little reach back, reaching forward. One hand goes in front of the other, reaching forwards, opening out the shoulder blades, maybe bending into the knees, having a lower down, having a travel. And the other way. And releasing. And then taking left arm across the body, supporting or drawing it a bit closer. Looking towards the fingers. And then looking away. Looking back to center. Lowering one ear. And the other. And then having a little tap into the opposite shoulder. Maybe the hips are going at the same time. Option, stay where you are. Option, elbow goes up and over. Maybe hands still lowered and tapping. Or maybe you're grasping. Elbows or wider, higher or lower. Bit of movement if you fancy it. And then option, stay where you are. Option, right hand goes onto the hip, or around the back. Hand going lower, maybe holding the top, or maybe working the fingers towards each other. And then releasing, having a big roll. Taking it both ways. And then taking the right arm across. Having a look towards the fingers. And then looking away. Looking back to center. Lowering an ear. And the other one. Looking back to center. Tapping the opposite shoulder. Maybe the elbow goes up and over, tapping or grasping. Staying as you are, or left arm going round, hand on hip, or it goes round the back, higher or lower. And releasing. Having a roll, taking the hands to the shoulders, stirring around with the elbows. Taking it both ways. Opening out the elbows, having a little squeeze back. And then bringing the elbows together, hands onto shoulders, softening into the knees, hinging forward. Breathing into the stretch. Maybe taking the elbows over towards one of the legs. And then over the other side. Coming back to center. Curling up. Nice and gently. Having a squeeze back. And then reaching forward. So we've already done one of these. Now switching over the hands, non-dominant position, having a little reach. Maybe bending into the knees, having a lower down, bit of traveling. Coming back to center, taking the hands above the head, taking a lean. Staying with the leaning, or maybe doing a bit of circling. Going both ways. Having a little roll out. And then a bit of massage, a bit of tapping. Rubbing into the hands, a bit of massage for the neck and the shoulders. Squeezing the muscles, releasing tension, getting blood flow and freshness. And then a bit of gentle finger tapping into the neck, into the shoulder muscles, into the chest. Making your note of the day. Sure, there is a scientific reason why that is a good thing to do. It feels nice anyway. Little tap up the arms, taking out the left arm, having a little tap over the fingers, back of hand, up the arm, into the shoulder, turning over, tapping back down. And then travelling over, up the right arm, turning over, tapping back down. And then having a little massage to the lower back. And then a bit of a tap into the big muscles in the bum. Maybe that can be quite a firm tap. Traveling down the back of the legs, bending into the knees, maybe getting down to the feet and toes. Coming up the front. Into the outsides, up the insides. Having a shake, giving it a wriggle. Everyone all right so far? Yes. Having another little drink if you fancy one. Calming things down a little in the music department. And then coming back onto the mat. Oh yeah, if you want a bit of a twist, then go for it. Take some breaths. And then coming back to center, feet are comfortably wide. Making some namaste hands, softening into the knees, having a lower down, finding your invisible stool as higher or as lower as you want it. Maybe taking a little curl forwards, bringing the arms to the legs, but not resting heavily on the legs, just nice and lightly. If you fancy going a bit further, you want to go down to Hindi squat, taking the hips down. All options good. And then from Hindi squat or from sumo, option, leave the right arm down. Left arm reaches, maybe left arm tucks around the back, half bind, maybe a look towards the ceiling. And then replacing, coming back to Namaste, hinging up nice and slowly, having a reach. And then settling back down again, Namaste hands, staying higher if you need to, going a bit lower, coming into sumo, lower still, into Hindi squat. And from any of those positions, doing the opposite stretch. So leaving the left arm down, right arm reaches, maybe it tucks around the back half bind. And then bringing the hands back into Namaste, curling up. Having a reach, palms together, taking a lean. And the other way. And releasing. Little shake. Making some triangle legs. Your right foot going out this way. Left toes facing towards me. Front heel about level with the instep of the back foot. Zipping and squeezing your core muscles. Taking the arms out to the side, and then arches arms like we did earlier on, taking the left arm across the body, grabbing the strings, drawing them back across the body, and then having a little tip with the front hand down towards the front toe, and then up towards the ceiling. Coming back to center, leaving the feet as they are, taking the arms out, extending your triangle in the normal way, front arm to front leg, back arm reaches. If that's not for you, and can go onto the hip instead. And then uncurling, back hand to back leg, front arm reaches, or the hand can go over opposite shoulder if you prefer. And releasing. And then twizzling the feet, triangle legs the other way, left foot out that way. Right foot facing towards me, distance between the feet, narrower or wider. Opening out, and then right arm coming over to meet the left, grabbing the strings on your bow, drawing them across the chest. Then having a little tip down towards the front foot. Up towards the ceiling. Coming back to center and releasing, bending the arms out. Still in triangle legs, extending your triangle. Front arm to front leg, back arm reaches, maybe a look up. And then uncurling, maybe having a look towards the fingers. And releasing. And then doing all the same sort of stuff with warrior two legs, right foot going out to the side, softening into the right knee and lowering, arms going out, arches arms, grabbing your strings, drawing them back, tipping down with your bow. And then taking it up towards the ceiling. And then opening out. Staying the same with the legs. Extending your warrior. Front arm to front leg. Back arm C-shaping. Uncurling. Back arm across the stomach. Front arm up and over. Maybe a look at the palm. And releasing. Little shake, and then resetting. Warrior two legs, left foot turning out, left knee softening, hips lowering, higher or lower for more intensity. Arms going out, grasping the strings of your bow, drawing them across the chest. Taking a tip down towards the front leg, up towards the ceiling. Coming back to center, opening out, maybe the legs straightened up. Maybe you want to bend into the knee, lower, back down again, as little or as much. Extending your warrior, front arm to front leg, back arm C shapes. And then back arm across the stomach, front arm up and over, and releasing. And then stepping forward with your right foot, warrior one legs, softening into the front knee, hips stay higher, hips go lower. Having a reach up, palms facing together, and then taking the arms out to the side, knuckles facing back, maybe having a little press back towards the knuckles, squeezing the shoulder blades. And then making some elephant arms, lacing the fingers, having a reach forward with the elbows. And then a little hinge down towards the front leg, maybe not getting there, maybe staying higher, or maybe getting down to the leg, going a bit lower. And then if you want to, an elephant twist to the side, taking the left elbow over the right leg, fingers still laced, elephant. Arms to the side, maybe opening out the arms, maybe not. If you're opening out the arms, lower arms across the leg. And then lacing the fingers, back into your elephant arms, coming back to center, curling up nice and gently, having a reach up, knuckles towards the ceiling, and releasing. Having a shake, all the same the other way. Left foot goes forward, softening into the front knee. Having a reach, palms facing each other. And then arms going out to the side, knuckles facing back, maybe a little squeeze out and back. And then reaching forward, lacing the fingers, elephant arms, bending at the elbow. Elbow reaching forward. And then curling down, elbows connecting higher to the rib cage or lower to the leg. Maybe a twist, maybe not. If you're twisting, right elbow going over the leg, pushing into the palms, fingers still laced. Maybe the arms open out, lower arm across the leg. And then lacing the fingers, coming back to center. Curling up, having a reach up, knuckles towards the ceiling, and releasing. And then coming into some twisting, doing a bit of breathing. And then coming into some balancing, wherever you want to be for that. On the mat, off the mat, harder or softer surface. Balance is easier on a harder surface. Maybe being near to something you can hang on to. Maybe doing a bit of shrugging, a bit of squeezing up. Yeah, or a bit of shoulder rolling. And then we've been doing a bit of tree hugging recently, so let's combine that with some eagle legs. Eagle sitting in the tree, hugging the tree at the same time. Weight over onto the left foot. Soft knee with the right, maybe the toes stay down. Or maybe you're all right to cross over. So right foot goes over, toes can stay down, or for more challenge, floating up, tucking round, crossing over, wherever you fancy. And then if you fancy, so if you don't fancy your tree hugging arms, you can do a namaste. If you fancy tree hugging, Having a reach out, grabbing round quite a large tree trunk, fingertips together. Maybe having a little lower down, maybe a bit of hinging forward. Still breathing, oh yeah. And then curling up, releasing the leg, having a reach towards the ceiling, maybe tree hugging fingers, taking a lean. And releasing. All the same the other way. Taking weight onto the right foot. Left toes go down. If the knee needs to stay where it is, or the foot, stay where it is. Otherwise, crossing over. Setting your eagle legs of choice. Namaste if you want, or tree hugging, having a little reach forward. Maybe softening into the knee, having a lower down, bit of a hinge forward, still breathing, maybe smiling. Yep. Oh yeah. And then taking the fingers up towards the ceiling, releasing the legs, having a reach, taking a lean. And releasing. And then floating half moon. Left foot steps out to the side. Left knee softens. Opening out the arms. Maybe taking the weight over towards the front foot. Toes down with the back. Zipping and squeezing the core, chest facing me if you can. Maybe the foot floats up as little or as much. Maybe it taps down occasionally. Maybe you want more. You want to hug your tree at the same time. Having a reach forward. Oh yeah. And releasing. Yep, looking amazing. And then turning the right foot out to the side, softening into the right knee. Opening out. Maybe taking the weight over, maybe back toes float up, maybe they don't. Maybe some tree hugging, maybe not. Oh, yeah. Still breathing. Yeah. And releasing. Yeah. And then have a little push up with the palms. Maybe a squeeze onto the toes. Zipping the core muscles, taking a lean. And releasing. And then coming into downward dog. Wherever you want to be for your downward dog. So let me just show you before you hang upside down. So we're going into downward dog. We can all go together if we want to, or we can make our own way. Pressing into the hands, spreading the fingers. Downward dog might look like this. Or it might be modified. Knees go down. Or maybe you don't want to take too much weight in the hands. Taking the forearms down. So wherever you want to be for your downward dog. And then it's customary to do a bit of tail wagging while we're in downward dog. Maybe a little bit of shaking of the feet or a little bit of pedaling if you've got straight legs. And then option to add on if you want to. Three-legged dog. And then left leg floats back down. Maybe it just goes back to its normal spot, or maybe for more challenge it crosses over behind. And then having a little soften into the knees, maybe having a little press back with the bum, and then maybe going into plank, taking the weight forward. Sending the leg back out and replacing. So all the same, if you're doing it from knees down, three-legged dog, and then foot can go back to where it normally does, or maybe you want to cross over at the ankles, tucking under the toes, having a little squeeze back, a little squeeze forward. Any of those bits Feel free to miss it out or do your own thing. All options good. Everyone all right with their option? Yeah, fabulous. So making your own way. You could do the same thing at the wall, by the way. Forgot to say that. Having a reach up and a breath in. Breathing out, hinging forward. Wall looks like that. All the same stuff at the wall. I'm just going down to the mat. So knees down if you want to, forearms down if you want to. Tail wagging, feet pedaling if you want to. And then if you want the add-on, left leg floats up, three-legged dog. And then replacing left foot, maybe back to where it normally goes, or if you want more challenge, crossing it behind the right leg, bending into the knees, tucking under the toes, little squeeze back. Maybe the weight comes over the hands, maybe it doesn't. Bending the left leg back up, and then replacing. And then all the same with the right. I'm going to do the kneeling version this time. Right leg floats up. Maybe it just goes back to where it was. Maybe you cross over, right over left ankle. Tucking under the toes. Maybe having a little press back. Maybe taking the weight forward. And then from there, coming back into extended child, uncrossing the ankles if you got the cross. Taking the bum back towards the heels, hands going out in front, staying on the forearms if you want to, or taking the head down towards the mat, somewhere in between. Or if you don't want to be in extended child, seated forward fold is an alternative. From wherever you are, option to thread the needle if you want to. Right arm goes underneath left, turning the head, looking towards the left. Left hand can stay as it is. Maybe it goes round, pops onto the left hip. You can have a little reach if you want to. Maybe you want to tuck it round the back, half bind. And then all the same the other way. Threading through. Left arm, right hand stays where it is, or goes over to the hip, has a little reach, or tucks round, or a bit of all of those. And then uncurling, coming back into sitting, sending the legs out. Giving the legs a little flap. Having a little wander around on the sit bones. And then coming into your seated twist. And I think we'll do a few side leans today. So growing nice and tall in the spine, legs can stay flat, knees can be a bit bent, or maybe you want to put left foot to the floor, left knee bent. So often we cross the foot over there, so you could do that if you want to, or you can leave it in the initial position. That just gives you a slightly different stretch. Growing nice and tall in the spine, taking the fingertips out to the side, having a bit of a lean over. And the other way. And then seated twist, growing tall in the spine, taking right arm over the left leg. Left hand goes behind, tapping down or reaching out and back. Maybe bending at the elbow, C-shaping over, maybe a look towards the ceiling. And releasing. And then maybe right foot goes to the mat, right knee bent. Foot can be further away, foot can be closer in. Or you can cross it over if you prefer. Grow nice and tall, fingertips to the side. Having a little reach over, one way then the other. And then seated twist, growing tall in the spine. Left arm goes across, right hand goes behind. Maybe right arm squeezes out. Maybe it's C-shape, bending at the elbow. And releasing. And then coming down to the mat. Doing a few roly-polies on your way down if you want to. Just tell me, we started about 5 minutes late in this class, so are you okay for another 5 minutes on top of the, yeah, okay. Nobody rushing back off to work today, that's good. So some roly-polies if you want them. And then if you fancy it, going on your yoga bike, gluing the back down to the mat, feet tap down, and then stepping onto the pedals, having a little pedal. Maybe it's a small wheel, maybe it's larger. Maybe you're spinning round in a low gear, or maybe you're pressing in a higher gear. Slower, but more concerted effort. Head and shoulders can stay down, or maybe fingers to temples, tucking in the chin, curling up head and shoulders, fingers lightly touching the temples, not pulling on the head or neck. If you want even more, maybe sending the arms forward, hands to the outside of the knees. Oh yeah. And then drawing the knees in towards the chest. Taking a little rock. Side to side. Round and round. And then happy baby legs if you want them. Sending the feet flat to the ceiling. Knees can be narrower. Knees can go out wider. Wherever feels right. Holding on. Legs, feet, big toes, trousers. Wherever you fancy. Maybe a bit of a rock. Straightening out the legs if you want to. Doing one leg, replacing, then doing the other, or sending out both at the same time. And then bringing the soles of the feet towards each other. Drawing the feet a little bit. Maybe upper, pressing inside the knee. Maybe a squeeze and curl up. And releasing. Feet go to the mat, knees are bent. Crossing right over left, can be at the ankle, can be over the knee. Maybe staying as you are, maybe adding intensity, drawing the left leg towards you, placing the fingers around the leg. Maybe straightening. Maybe a bit of rocking. Pointing and flexing, sending away the toes, the heels. Ankle rotation. Tucking in the chin, curling up head and shoulders if you want to. Squeeze it up. And then switching over. All the same the other way. Maybe drawing right leg towards you. Maybe it straightens. Maybe it doesn't. Pointing and flexing. Ankle rotation. Squeeze and curl up if you want to. And releasing. Feet to the mat, knees are bent, arms going out to the side. Taking the knees out towards the left side. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe a bit more. maybe somewhere in between. Maybe right leg extends, and then maybe right hand goes round the clock face, circling all the way round, back to where it started. Bending into the knees, taking the knees over towards your right side, a little bit or a bit more. Left leg can extend if you wanted to. And then left arm going round an imaginary clock face. Big circle. Back to where it started. And then coming back to center. Drawing the knees in towards the chest, having a bit of rock and roll. And then finding a comfortable position for some breathing, some relaxation. Finding your most comfortable position. Closing the eyes, focusing in onto the breath. Drawing the focus into the breath as you draw deep breaths in through the nose, deep breaths out. Bit of spa music for our last few minutes. So maybe carrying on with your deep, slow breaths. Hands to stomach and rib cage. Maybe you want to go into some alternate nostril breathing. 2 fingers to the middle of the eyebrows. Covering over the right nostril. Taking a deep, slow breath in through the left. Covering the left, deep slow breath out through the right. Breathing in through the right. Covering, breathing out through the left. Keeping it going, following slow deep breaths. Bringing some calmness, balance. And then releasing the hands, popping them somewhere comfortable. Just having a little check-in with the body. How are you feeling? Is there still any tension? Doing a bit of squeezing and releasing, getting rid of last bits of tension. Breathing in, squeezing into the muscles. Breathing out, releasing them. Same again, breathing in and squeezing. Breathing out, releasing. Last time, breathing in and squeezing. Breathing out, releasing. And then having a rub into the hands. Making some warmth in the fingers, and then taking 2 fingers to the temples. Giving it a bit of circular massage, nice and gently, releasing stresses, tension, things that are worrying you, letting them go. And then a bit of 2-finger tapping, bringing some fresh energy, some fresh thoughts. Maybe the tapping travels over into the forehead, the eyebrows, underneath the eyes, into the cheek muscles. And then 2 fingers to the hinges of the jaw, letting the jaw open and soften, massaging away some of the tension that gets held in the jaw. And then the neck and the shoulder muscles, massaging away last bits of tension. Some finger tapping into the neck muscles, across the shoulders, into the chest, into the lungs. And then taking a yawn, breathing in and yawning, breathing out, releasing. Turning the head side to side, releasing tension from the neck muscles. Taking a shrug, breathing in and shrugging, breathing out, releasing. And then reaching around your tree hugging arms. Maybe a little travel over one side and the other. Coming back to center, sending the hands above the head, maybe still in tree hugging. Maybe a little travel over one side and the other. And then a full body stretch, fingers to toes, breathing in and stretching, breathing out, releasing. And then drawing the knees in towards the chest, giving them a hug, bit of rock and roll. And then rolling over onto your side, curling into a ball, taking some breaths. And then slowly making your way back into sitting, doing anything you need to do to loosen up. Is everybody all right? Yeah. Taking the arms out to the side, having a breath in, reaching tall, breathing out, giving each other a bow and a clap. Thank you so much for joining me.